What are my top 10 favorite tarot decks of 2024? With so many incredible new releases, narrowing it down was no easy task. But today, I'm sharing my top 10 favorites, the ones that earned a place on my reading table. Will your favorite make the list? Stick around to find out. You'll find links to purchase these decks, as well as to book a reading with me, in the description below. Before we begin, I want to mention that I scaled back my purchases in 2024. There were so many tempting decks, but I didn't buy as many as I normally would. So if your favorite isn't here, that might be why. Or maybe I just haven't seen it yet. I'd love to hear about your top picks in the comments. Also, I'm only including decks that were officially released in 2024, or in the case of Kickstarter projects, arrived to me in 2024. Now let's get into my favorite decks of 2024. In order to narrow down my large list of decks into 10, I had to set myself a few guidelines. So first, I chose not to include any decks that were new editions of previously released decks, even though some of them are amazing, and you can see a few of them here. I also decided not to include out-of-print decks at the time of filming this, since I wanted this list to feature decks that you, the viewer, can actually get your hands on, or at least I would hope. Finally, I prioritized decks featuring original artwork, whether hand-painted, illustrated, or drawn by the creator or an artist specifically commissioned for the deck. However, art comes in many forms, and I didn't want to limit that definition too strictly. While most of the decks on this list follow a more traditional approach to illustration, I included one that uses digital collage because the level of transformation, composition, and artistic vision makes it feel like a fully original creation, or at least to me. When ranking these decks, I considered more than just the artwork. Originality and readability. Quality also played an important role, including the cardstock, guidebook depth, and the design and durability of the box. Of course, personal taste is always a factor, and my preferences for artwork and cardstock are subjective, and your favorites might be different. That said, there are still some decks that I absolutely love, but didn't quite fit these criteria. So before we get to the top 10, here are my honorable mentions, decks that are incredible in their own right, but fell just outside of the guidelines I set. So for our first honorable mention, we have the Venus Morningstar Tarot by Aphrodite Studios 333. This is a beautiful deck. It is curated art. The box has a soft rose petal finish. It is a hard box. Here's a look at it. And opens like this. There is no ribbon. Nice little poem here. She beckons souls to rise and soar, to seek the light, to crave for more. Venus, the morning star, so bright, a symbol of hope, of endless light. So beautiful. Gives you an idea of what this deck is about. So let's show you. Here's the inside under the cards. Now, here are the backs of the cards. They are reversible. No foiling. This is the color of gold. And the cardstock is a 350 GSM. It's a matte finish. It is not a rose petal finish, but it does feel nice. And because it's not rose petal and it's that thick 350 GSM, it does shuffle easier than, say, if it had that rose petal where it can catch and stick and clump just a little bit, although rose petal feels lovely in the hands. So here we have the Three of Cups. Beautiful. Three of Coins. And I just think that they've done an excellent job of choosing the artwork that goes with each card. It's very well thought out, in my opinion. And I really love the design elements, the way they have this star with the number up here, the font choice they've made. And for me, this is a deck that I can work with on my altar for Venus. Venus is, of course, associated with many things, artwork and creativity being one of them, love, pleasure, joy, music, all sorts of things. So you could also use it on your altar, not necessarily for Venus, but for those subjects as well. And of course, for me personally, I will pull a card when I'm looking for a message for Venus or just being open to their messages. So for me, this is a very special deck in that way, and it's quite beautiful. They've really done a great job optimizing this artwork, and it is lovely. It feels very luxurious, and it feels very classy. I'm not sure how else to describe it, but it's well done. Very well done. So it's really fun to look at this artwork and then read who the artist is and the piece of art. Oh, isn't this beautiful? I think this Knight of Coins is gorgeous. An atlas here. And learn about the different stories and the history. This Three of Swords. Oof, beautiful. So I will show you actually the guidebook so you can see what I'm talking about. This is funny. I'm sitting here going, what did I do with that guidebook? Where's the guidebook? Oh, well, when I plopped out the cards, I just, hid it for myself. So here's the guidebook. Let's show you that. Small, same size as the cards, fit in the box, soft cover, and very simple. It will get right into it pretty much, how to work with this deck on the Morning Star. And then it talks about the renaming of the cards, which, by the way, the Fool is the Dawn, the High Priestess is the Priestess, the Hierophant is the Ancient, the Wheel of Fortune is Fate, the Hanged Man is Stillness, and the Tower is Fallen. So let's show you. So we have the card number, the card name, small black and white picture of the card. We have the artist and the artwork and the year. Then we have an affirmation and keywords. So very simple, but I love having the artist, the artwork, and the year, as well as an affirmation. And keywords are definitely quite useful in prompting your mind and working with a deck. So that's a look at the guidebook. I'll show you two more, and then we will move on. Okay, so that's a look at the Venus Morning Star Tarot. Next, we have the Sistine Tarot. Now, I would have put this in my top 10 countdown, but it's already out of print. So this was available for a very short amount of time. I mentioned it in one of my monthly new releases and that, you had to hop on it. So hopefully you saw that or you saw it somewhere else. And if you liked it, you were able to pick it up. But I just couldn't see doing my top 10 list without including this deck, even though it's already out of print. So please forgive me, but I do still want to share it with you. So here are the backs of the decks. As you can see, Genesis from the book of Genesis, beautiful backs here. Now this deck had options when it was time of purchase. You could have it with gilding, you could buy it with the box. It was a tuck box. I chose to skip the box because I have plenty of backs and I don't do well with tuck boxes anyway. And I also chose to skip the gilding because sometimes it's scratchy on my fingers, other times it's not. Sometimes it's sticky, sometimes it's not. And I just wasn't sure which gilding I would get, so I opted to keep it simple and skip the gilding. So no gilding on these, but you could have gotten a gold gilding. Now, I absolutely love the cardstock. It is a linen cardstock. I love linen cardstock. I like to riffle shuffle a deck, and especially if I'm going to do a bunch of readings, I like it when it's easy to shuffle. Thick cardstock is great. It holds up. But if you want to riffle shuffle and you want to riffle shuffle many times over and over, it can give your hands a workout. So something like this is very easy and enjoyable and just mindlessly relaxing to shuffle. I love it. So this is by Rose Bay Tarot. I think I forgot to mention this. And this was available on Make Playing Cards. So here you can take a look at it. we have collaging, and you will see some Catholic overtones. And the reason for that, my understanding, is that the creator's grandmother passed away, and that was their beliefs. It was not the creator's beliefs. I'm going to set this aside for a second. It was not the creator's beliefs at the time, but she wanted to create a deck to connect with her grandmother. And it makes sense. That's what you would do. You know, sometimes you meet people where they're at, and those were her beliefs. So that's what she did. And I think that's pretty beautiful. I am not Catholic. I do not have a Catholic background, but I definitely appreciate the aesthetics. I think some of it is quite beautiful and opulent, you know, and in a way it can help me work through some feelings I have about organized religion in a way. But this is just gorgeous. Now I'm going to bring this card back because I have to gush. Check out this father card. I mean, that is absolutely amazing. This is one of the cards where I was like, yeah, I have to get that deck, even though, you know, I'm in a low buy deck situation. Gotta get the deck because that is just, it's outrageous. The Hanged One, the Mother, beautiful colors. There is a card in here that when I pulled it, I just got choked up just from the imagery. It was very powerful to me. And that can surprise you, but it's a beautiful deck. Look at this Four of Swords with all its sweetness. It has depth, you know, it really does. I'm sure you can see that here. So beautiful deck, and I hope if you wanted it, you were able to pick it up. Instead of the Devil, we have Temptation. So we do have some changes. Now I'll show you something else they did. And this, I believe, is the creator. So I think that's really cool. I love it when a creator is in the deck. I think that's neat. Okay, so I want to also show you, they have some additional cards. So they have the Four Virtues in this deck. But something else that is cool, and you know, if you work with astrology, you already know what the associations within a normal tarot deck are. So it's not like it's necessary, but it is pretty cool to have these zodiac cards with the signs. Look at that, Pisces. I love this one, and this is one of my major signs. One of my major points and planets is Sagittarius. So I saw that, and that was another one where I'm like, I'm sold. I gotta get that. I love it. That Leo, perfect. So yeah, I think this is a fabulous deck, and it's really beautiful. So I needed to include it for you, and how to create an honorable mention section to do that just for this deck. So there you go. That's a look at the Sistine Tarot. And now on to our top 10 decks. Coming in at number 10 is Old Style Tarot, a mass market deck published by US Game Systems with artwork by Alexander Ray. So here's the box. We have a hard box, 2-piece hard box. Okay, and instead of finger cutouts, it has kind of a groove, making it so you can open it up. Here we can see the guidebook sitting there waiting to be read. We have our ribbon. And here's the backs of the cards. Mostly reversible. There's a slight difference on flowers, so that would be, and in the eye, the only way you could really tell. Now, here's the inside. Here's also the underside of the cap. So it comes with a blank card. I'm going to put that aside. And here is the card size. They're slightly larger than your typical cards. So wider, but not much longer. So for me, that's okay to work with, because when they get too long, that's where it's more troublesome. Wide, less of a problem for me personally. So let's show you some of these cards. Oh, and the card stock is, US Games card stock. I like it. It's not too thin. It's not too thick. Some might want it thicker, but, it makes it kind of easy to shuffle when they are not too thick. So for me, it's about just right for just a standard mass market deck. So here we have the beautiful Lovers. And I think this artwork is fantastic. And of course, brings you back in time to another place, or at least does for me, has a nostalgicness to it. And I enjoy working with it. It's very easy to read with. It does stick with your classic Rider-Waite system, but there are little changes. So I do think this would be a great beginner deck. You are going to have slight changes. This beautiful Empress here. Wonderful 10 of Cups view. Yeah, I'm really happy with this deck. Super easy to read with. And I do have a full flip through available of this deck if you're interested to see more. Now, if I didn't mention it, there is no gilding. So keep that in mind, but you could, of course, edge it yourself. Now, let's see. Let me show you the guidebook. Oh, the High Priestess here. So you can get an idea of what is in the guidebook. Okay. So here's the guidebook. Has a nice soft cover finish. By the way, if I didn't mention it, these decks are not glossy, but they're not completely matte. So they do slide really well. They have a super subtle sheen, but I would call this more of a matte, but sheen enough where they slip easily. So here's the book. And I like this book. It does something neat that other ones do not do. We've got spreads. Okay, so we have upright. We have the card's advice, and I like that because I like to often add an advice card to my spreads. Even traditional spreads that don't have it, I feel like if there's a query or something like that, that I want an advice card, so I will add that. And so it has card's advice. It also has reversed, and it has the warning. And this is different that I don't see usually. We have a quick answer. So I think that's pretty cool. Quick answer. Yes, of course, your plans will work out. And that's just really neat. So I do like that about the guidebook. And it's nice and simple and to the point. And it still continues the card's advice with the minors, as well as the quick answers and the warnings. So minors to me are very important in addition to majors. So I love that they've done that. So that's a look at the old style tarot. Coming in at number 9 is Melodic Moods Tarot by Tarot Collectibles. Now this was a deck that I backed on Indiegogo. And let me tell you a little bit about it because it is quite unique. The Melodic Moods Tarot is a set of 78 stunning lyrical images inspired by many of the iconic singers of the 60s and 70s, covering everything from rock and roll, late 60s psychedelic rock and pop, to the disco era of the 70s, with varying nationalities, races, genders, backgrounds, and genres. The cards, when placed side by side, will weave a musical story throughout all of your readings. So as you can see, this deck comes in a tuck box, okay? But it also came with, when I backed for Early Bird, this beautiful pouch with Stevie Nicks, and it has this soft velvety background. Depending on when you watch this video, I do believe they're running a deal on this deck, and it comes with some other pouch that I can't recall at the moment. So hopefully you catch that. But even if you don't, I mean, this deck is so unique. It's worth it. So let me show you the cards. Here are the backs of the cards. And that is just really fun and definitely that groovy vibe. And here is the size of the cards. So I would call them pretty much standard. They are ever so slightly wider, just by a tiny, tiny bit. So there's that. Now, they said 78 cards on the back of the deck, but it does come with extras for you to choose to swap out. So I will show you that. No gilding and good cardstock. Nice, good cardstock. Thick enough, but not too thick where it's hard to shuffle, but definitely it will hold up, in my opinion anyway. We have a mildly glossy finish, but not the kind of gloss that sticks, so I love that. Helps the shuffle. So here we go. Here is what we're getting into. So this concept I think is so original and creative, and you know what? For me, it is effective. Like when I reach for this deck and I read with it, the messages are easy, loud, clear, and fast. Unless I don't know the song. Usually I know the song. So if you don't know this music, maybe it's not ideal for you. If you do, and your brain's like mine, you're going to be flying through these readings and the messages come through loud and clear. And in the example of where it's an advice card, it sticks because it's a song that you know and enjoy. And also it's an invitation to learn new songs that you may not know if you don't know them when they come up. So I think that is really cool. So for example, Six of Wands, We Are the Champions. A lot of people know that song, so I won't sing it. Eight of Cups, You Can Go Your Own Way. And so this just has me singing the song through it, and the messages just come through loud and clear for me. I love it. I'm definitely a very musical person. I love to listen to it. I will sing on my own. You have other options for the devil, by the way. Let's see. Okay, I had to stop and find the alternate card for the devil. So this was your other option for the devil, but I love this song. So of course, for me, I left this one in here because I enjoy it and I think it is very fitting. And there are other swap outs as well. So it's really nice that you can customize it for your associations and what you prefer, at least for a few cards. Queen of Cups, Don't You Need Somebody to Love? Think for Ace of Swords. You're the first, last, my everything for King of Cups. Amazing. I Got You, Babe, for the lovers. And so I really could go through all of these cards, but I won't do that because we have other decks to look at. But I just think this is an amazing deck. The Lizard King, King of Wands, such an original and great concept, and it works. And James Battersby did the artwork for this and really did a great job and has these colors and everything else. Ride Like the Wind, Knight of Swords. I mean, you pull this card, you hear the song, you get the message very clearly. Magic Man for the Magician. Yeah, I love this. I love this deck. It's so fun to read with. So those are some of the main cards. Hello. And so we already saw one of the devil swap outs. You can also swap out the High Priestess, but I love the High Priestess that came in here, so I didn't do that. We have an alternative death card. I prefer the other death card that's in there. The Hanged Man, Queen of Swords, Three of Swords. So those were the ones that I chose to actually leave out of the deck. But that just gives you an idea of some of the cards you can alternate, or actually all of them. Now, this is the guidebook. So in it is pretty cool because it tells you, okay, Fool, Paul McCartney, song name. And then it gives you a little bit of information about like the reading. And it gives you a trivia. It gives you information about the song or the artist or that kind of thing. And I think that's really nice. It makes it really fun to read. And then look at this guidebook to get more information. Like maybe you don't know the trivia. Maybe you don't know some of the information that's in here, some of the background on the song. Now they do have, where is it? Here we go. I stuck it in the section where it would be. So they do note that the 9 of 10 of Swords entries in this booklet were omitted in error, and unfortunately it was after all the printing taken place. But they do have a full booklet in PDF form. So I keep that there because I can go to the PDF if I need to. So that's a look at the Melodic Moods Tarot. Coming in at number 8, we have the Peculiar Pathways Tarot by Lennox Rees. So we have a hard box with a magnetic flip open. I will show you it. It's quite beautiful. Lennox really thought of the details. So these are, let me take this out here. Those are replacement cards you saw on the top. So check out the inside of this box. Beautiful, all the details, nice soft finish to this box. No ribbon, but the cards easily come out. Now here are the backs of the cards. I think these backs are beautiful. Everyone has their own personal taste on that. Let's show you the size of the cards compared to a standard size. So slightly wider, just a little bit. And these, I love this cardstock. It is a linen and it shuffles so beautifully. I really love this cardstock. And yet it's linen, the colors really came out fantastically, and you can see the images quite well. Now, here is the edging. We have a green edging. I love a colored edging, a matte colored edging, because, or a sparkly, just because it doesn't scratch my fingers like, say, gilding do, but then you have that nice pop of color. So this on my fingers is just soft and perfect. So that really is my preference, to have a colored edging that's not gilding. Plus it won't flake on you. So let's show you these beautiful cards. So as you can see here, they are digital collage, but this is taken to such a level that it really, I mean, it's its own thing. And it does stick to RWS, but on some of these, it takes the concept that you know and it changes it. For example, 10 of Wands, instead of seeing a person carrying 10 wands indicating a heavy load, we have a literally heavy bag, right? With these spike ball weights and needing to let go and put it down. And something that I really enjoy about this deck when it's not doing that, and I do love when it veers off, is that it's distilling down the imagery. You will notice that you're not seeing humans. You will see an eye, but you don't see the humans. So here we have the distilled down imagery of the King of Coins, yet it completely is the King of Coins, right? We have that classic symbolism. And something about that, it really makes me see the card differently. It makes me think about it differently. It makes me see details in the cards that, yes, I always see, but maybe the king is front and center as opposed to the bull or the coin or the crown or the house back here or the grapes. You get the idea. The Fool distilled down to this imagery. And I love this Fool. I think it is beautiful. It is lovely. So I really like this for reading with, especially seeing lots of decks. It's so unique and it makes you see it in a different way. And therefore, I believe, enhances your readings later with other cards because you have focused in on these key symbols without the people within it. Basically, just animals instead. Here we do have a hand. And like I mentioned, you will see an eye here and there, but basically not. Yet you can still understand what it means. Now, there is a beautiful hardbook guidebook that you could have added on to the Kickstarter campaign when I purchased it. I am kicking myself. I didn't do that. And I knew I enjoyed the deck, but once I got it in my hands, it was like, why did I not get that hard guidebook? Because I really want to read it. There is a PDF, right? But when I sit down to read, I'm not in front of my computer. I go to my special area with my crystals and candles and decks and in a very special place. And I do not keep electronics at that place. So I wish I had gotten the hard guidebook, but I can go and read the PDF. Look at that beautiful chariot. Just once again, distilled down to the key imagery, the curtains, that glove, the horses, and in this case it looks like unicorns or Pegasuses, but yeah, just really beautiful. It's this kind of dreamy world. I mean, you could see why they named it Peculiar Pathways. It has this like Victorian feel. Yeah, perfect. This Victorian feel, yet almost a little bit of like an Alice in Wonderland feel, the way things are just peculiar, you know, a little bit different. So I love it. So let's see, anything else? Well, I don't have the guidebook to show you, so I can't show you that. But I really love this deck. 8 of coins. Like when I see it without the person there and I see the tools and the beavers, it's like, get to work. Time to get to work. Yeah, so I love this deck. That is a look at the Peculiar Pathways Tarot. Coming in at number 7 is Journey Tarot by Teagan Michael Turner. And this was a Kickstarter deck that I backed. It comes in a hard flip open magnetic box and has a soft, almost rose petal finish. Not totally, but it's very soft. So let me show you this box. So here you have one side, and here's the reverse. Very cool. So that's the underside of the image you see on the front. You can already tell the creativity involved here. Nothing here, but plenty of other to look at on that box internal. Now here are the backs of the decks. They're not reversible, and they are what I would call a standard size tarot deck. So like slightly wider, but not by much. And they are 350 GSM, and they are not shiny. They are a matte with a super subtle sheen, but there's almost like a waxy finish. And this deck, frankly, would rate higher if I enjoyed the cardstock more. And the cardstock, you know, I can tell its quality, it's going to hold up in time, but the finish makes it so that the slide, it doesn't slide like I would want it to. Kind of like if you don't like a rose petal finish, this finish, although it's not rose petal, for some reason it feels like it sticks more to me. And they are thick, so that's great, they'll hold up, but the shuffleability isn't as much for me. It's definitely a thick pile of a deck, I'll show you, because of the thickness of the cards. I think it's 350. It's not 400, but look at how big that stack is. There are, I believe, actually 2 extra cards in here. Oh yeah, that's right. They have 2 extra cards, but it's not part of the tarot deck. It's special cards. So let me show you this deck. It is beautiful. That is why it is still on this top 10 list. And there is a very unique system within this deck. So for example, here, 6 of Fire, we do not see the typical RWS interpretation here, but you can see the remnants. So 6 of Fire, you can see what might be a celebration of victory with those balloons and this beautiful lead up, more balloons here, like going to a party, going to celebrate a victory. That's how I see it anyway. 20, instead of judgment, we have liberation, and I love this imagery for that. I really love this card. 21, the universe. And so when I reference the system, that is because the artist kind of has their own concept of tarot. Look how beautiful that is. And yes, they take RWS into account, But they also have some hermetic principles, as I understand it, within this deck. And they did not seek out or specifically go to base this on a Thoth tarot deck. According to what they say in their Kickstarter, they kind of came up with their system and their interpretation, and it happened to, as they later found out, align more with Thoth style decks. For example, here we have number 8, the equilibrium. So we have the placement of justice in 8 instead of 11, like some decks are. And that looks to be Mott, I would assume. The Emperor, but this artwork is really beautiful and super unique. And I love how it stretches your mind in thinking in different ways about tarot. And there is like more of a system, for example, with the majors that is in here. 3 of air, we have a tree house that's upside down on its head. There is a system within the majors that is very cool. I feel like this is an intellectual deck and I'm here for it. 8 of water, beautiful. Now, I don't know if I would recommend it for beginners. Might be better if you have a little more experience. Certainly not for your first deck, although it is beautiful. Just because it does really get away from that symbolism. Unless, of course, you don't want to learn the traditional symbolism and you are just attracted to this deck. But if you want something to stretch your concepts of it, perfect. So beautiful, as you saw, no gilding. Now I will show you the guidebook. Here's the guidebook. Soft cover, fits in the box, gets right to the point and into the cards. So we have the number, the card, and then basically like a title. So in this one, it's the Fool, the one who chooses. Then it has the cosmic force associated with the card. And then we have a poem. So that is different. We have a poem here. This one has a remember section and then keywords. Others have a phrase instead of a remember. So I think this is really neat, these titles, the way they work. They will work throughout the deck in a particular system, but this is something you can get to discover if you are interested in this deck. And that would make this video very long if I went into it. So that's a look at the beautiful Journey Tarot. Coming in at number 6, we have the Bee Tarot. This deck is published by Llewellyn. The guidebook is written by Kristoffer Hughes, and the artwork is by Nadia Turner. Now, as you can probably already tell, this box is larger than my other decks that I've shown here, and it will be the largest of the top 10s. This is a Llewellyn kit, so it does have a large guidebook, making the box larger. Now, the box has spot gloss detailing, as you can see here. Very nice touch. Magnetic flip open, hard box. And here is the back. Okay, so when you open it up, has a nice message here. Ribbon to pull out your guidebook. Nice big guidebook. And check it out, we have edging, like a honeycomb, tea stained edging on the sides. And a ribbon to pull your cards out. That's the inside. We have one of these cardboard insides, but it is so that your cards can't slip under it. Now here are the backs of the cards. As you can see, they are reversible, right? And then for size, it is slightly shorter, but slightly, ever so slightly wider than a standard size tarot deck, which is really nice because it easily fits in my hands for riffle shuffling. I love riffle shuffling. Now, this is linen cardstock. It's not necessarily like indie linen cardstock, but I definitely prefer it over the super glossy Llewellyn cardstock that we were getting at a certain point where they didn't feel like they would hold up quite as well. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but I definitely prefer this, and I'm really happy that they're now doing linen. So no gilding. And let me show you these beautiful cards. So as you probably figured out, this deck is based on bees, but it is also based on druidry. Kristoffer, the writer of the guidebook, is a druid and has a lot of knowledge in that area. And so the guidebook is great and really helped the ranking of this deck. Same with the artwork. I love this artwork. Very unique concept as well. Super beautiful. Now I have a full flip through of this deck if you're interested. I'll probably put it in the description or I'll link it at the end of the video. Probably the description to show you. But as we can see here, the theme throughout, very creative, based on RWS. And I love Nadia's artwork. This, for example, we have a little bit of a difference. So not the traditional death card, but yet you can see there death in it. This beautiful Two of Jars. Just stunning artwork. And I'll show you the guidebook because that is definitely a great part of this deck. Kristoffer did an excellent job. Okay, that's probably good. Just looking for some of my favorites. I didn't come across them yet. The wheel, super beautiful. Okay, so let me show you the guidebook. Nice big guidebook, matte front, full color, glossy pages into the hive. And see this beautiful, I love this card. Such a great card. So it's going to talk about the magical world of bees, the magical world of tarot, how to read tarot, and then it'll break down the card meanings, and it has spreads. But let me, oh, I love this card too. I don't think I went across it in the flip through, but I was looking for it. This one here. Beautiful. Okay, so let me show you an example of one of the cards. So we have Strength. This is another card that I love. We have the number, we have the card title, we have the buzzwords, very cute, with the keywords there. And then we have a really beautiful, thought-provoking write-up. And in this write-up, and in every write-up, I learned something about bees and really how important and amazing they are. And so that's unique, and I love learning new things like that. And then we have an upright and a reversed. And as mentioned, we have that edging, which I can't recall seeing on a mass market book before. So super amazing guidebook. Just, wow, I love it. All those spreads. It's the back. So that's a look at the Bee Tarot. Before we get into the top 5, let's take a quick break, because what's the point in me owning these great tarot decks if I'm not putting them to use? And now, for a 45-second word from our sponsor, that's me. I'd love to help you gain insights, find clarity, and empower yourself to make choices aligned with your highest goals and aspirations. As a certified tarot reader, I offer personalized readings designed to provide powerful guidance, whether you're seeking answers to specific questions or a deeper understanding of your spiritual and life path. To book your tarot reading or purchase your birth chart, please visit my website at llewellynlefay.com. If you prefer to connect via email, you can find my contact information in the description below. I'm excited to support you on your journey towards greater clarity and empowerment. And now, onto my top 5 decks of the year. Coming in at number 5, we have the Supernova Tarot. This deck was published by Lo Scarabeo, but distributed by Llewellyn in the US. The artwork is by Federico Salas. Now we have a hard box. Here is a look at the box. It has spot gloss details on it. And it is a lift top lid with also spot gloss on the inside. So very cool box. I'm not sure how it's going to last. I have no idea, but it is hard and it is cool. Now, here are the backs of the decks. So they are reversible and the cardstock is glossy. Now, the cardstock is the reason this is not even higher on my list. I love this deck so much that I really kind of overlooked the cardstock. The cardstock is not terrible. The good thing is it's not too thin. It is thicker and it is glossy, so it's not my favorite to shuffle. But this deck is so amazing that, I mean, whatever. If they put this thing on linen or some other luxurious version, I gotta tell you, I would get that luxurious version because I love this deck so much and I love the artwork. So here is the sides, no gilding. Let me show you the size, I almost forgot. Size of the deck is ever so slightly wider, tiny bit longer than a traditional size deck. Let's show you this amazing artwork, or I find it amazing anyway. So here we go. Page of Wands. I love this artist. King of Swords. Head in the clouds there. So you'll see how the artist works with extending things beyond the borders, works with when there's more of a spiritual kind of element, they're blue or purplish. And there's a very rebellious attitude to this deck, and I love it. Like, look at this. We see part of the building here. It's blank here. This artist is just doing such new and creative things. I really appreciate it. And I love the boldness. I love what you could call the queerness. I love the attitude. I love the world that it creates. And I think these colors are fun. They're brighter than maybe I typically get, but it really works. Look at those ruby red slippers. Beautiful Queen of Wands. Nine of Wands here. And you get like these mix of eras, but it's all pulled together in this kind of popish, unique world that is created here. And it's interesting that the water tends to be pink. Look at that King of Wands. Amazing. Four of Wands. I love it. Look at that fool. You got the Birkenstocks on, the butt's hanging out, you know. It's just so cool. Beautiful Empress. We still have some of the traditional symbolism in there, yet completely original artwork. Beautiful take. Temperance. Bluish there. Oh yes, and we do have the planetary, the zodiac associations. The star, you see the scars there? You know, I mean, this is doing things that not many other decks do. And I think it's pretty incredible. I think it's completely original. This artwork, this style. Look at the way, once again, beyond the borders, beyond the edges. I feel like this is a masterpiece in artwork. I mean, it may not be for you. You know, everyone has their own style, but I love it. The High Priestess smoking a cigarette. See, this is, you know, I think that's a nun, but this is the rebelliousness that I'm talking about. You probably see it throughout. This Two of Cups. It's just so cool. So props to Federico and also Lo Scarabeo. I really appreciate that, you know, they went with it. They went with the boldness, these great backs, the awesome box. Like, thank you for leaning in. Thank you for finding this artist and giving them this excellent platform. Speaking of platform, the Hierophant as, you know, the stairs that you step up. Just so cool. Now, it would be nice. This is something that Tom Benjamin mentioned in their video talking about this deck. If there were more like curvy men in here, I love this Hanged Man. We do have the World, which is a curvy woman, but I don't recall seeing like more sexy curvy men in here. Certainly there is, you know, the World card and there are beautiful bodies here, but I would love to see like a beautiful, you know, fuller figured man as well. That would be nice. But I mean, there's so many other great things here. It's doing so many wonderful things that it's all good. You know, I love it anyway. So, and this I believe is the artist. Right there. That's the artist within the cards, which I love. We saw that in the Rose Bay Tarot as well. So I think that's fun when they do that. Check out that King of Pentacles. Yeah. I love it. And these boots. Yes. Yes. All the way. Love it. Okay. I don't think there's anything else to show you. No, wait, wrong. Oh, look at this. Look at this tower. Anyway, wrong. I need to show you the guidebook. Sorry. So this is another reason why, you know, it's not like totally at the top. The guidebook is better for a Lo Scarabeo, but it is small. So here's the guidebook. It is a matte cover, Lo Scarabeo. So it is going to be multiple languages. Now that does mean that this guidebook is shorter and smaller write-ups because you do have multiple languages split amongst this book. So let's show you. We do have some color in this book. Introduction, how to read tarot, spread techniques, and then it jumps right in. Major arcana, we have upright and reversed meanings. When we get to the minors, we do not have upright and reversed. We just have short write-ups. So if you like this deck, I do have a full flip through video of it and you can check it out some more and really see every single card. I will link that in the description of this video. So that's a look at the Supernova Tarot. Coming in at number 4, we have Magical Creatures by Wilder Hearts Studio. This deck was a Kickstarter campaign that I backed and it came with this cute bag. This is the Magician here on the front. Now I will show you. And these were hand stamped images by the artist. Here is the box it comes in. We have a tuck box, sticker on the top, hand numbered by the artist down here, and signed. So let's open it up. A little dragon peeking out. I'm opening from the bottom just to leave that seal shut. Now this is a 100 card deck. It has 22 additional bonus cards that are basically oracle cards in addition to the tarot deck. So you can pull them out or use them together. Right now I have them separate. And here is a look at the backs of the cards. They are not reversible, but they are adorable. I love this. And I will show you an idea of the size. So compared to a standard size, they are a little bit longer. And this is linen cardstock. It's 310 GSM, so that is a little bit thin, but the linen cardstock makes them nice and flexible and more durable. And I love shuffling these. I think these do a great job shuffling. Very easy to riffle shuffle. Here is the sides, no edging. Almost kind of has a purplish hue in a way from the backs. So that's cool. And here we go. Let's show you some of this artwork, and then I will show you the guidebook. So this, as you can see, sticks to classic Rider-Waite-Smith, but has this super creative, beautiful artwork. I love this artwork. And I have to tell you, when I work with this deck, I find myself smiling a lot. Although it can deal with heavy subjects as well, it just, the artwork and the characters within it, they make me smile. Look at that sweet Ace of Swords. Just so beautiful. And the colors really do sing on this linen. There are maybe some areas where I might like slightly more contrast, like we do have a lot of dark here, but it's amazing. So super beautiful. Now, if you do not like anthropomorphized animals, this probably wouldn't be the deck for you, because you do have that. Look at that world. I love this. I definitely enjoy mythical fantasy subjects though, so this is definitely right up my alley. But I really love this artwork style. So sweet. And I love the cardstock. It's really nice when I love the artwork and I love the cardstock. It does impact your experience of giving readings. So this is just delightful. Look at that dower. See, you have things that make you smile, but also, you know, boom, the tower, the point is made. It gets across. We have a nod to Alice in Wonderland, or at least that's what I think. The sun, so beautiful, beautiful colors in this. Okay, so, oh, look at that Queen of Cups. Oh, that is so sweet. This is such a sweet, beautiful deck. Now, if I recall correctly, this was printed in the USA, I believe, so I thought I'd mention that. And I do think that this could be used for beginners because it really does stick with the RWS system, if you know that's the system you want to learn based off of. Now this card, this may be a breaker for you because this is painful to see. We have an animal here, a unicorn, you know, that for some that could be the break, but that for me is the toughest card in this deck. And then this Q Magician that the bag was based off of. So I will show you the guidebook. Here's the guidebook, small, same size as the cards, has a little bit of a soft cover and very simple write-ups. So we have the card. It talks a little bit about the mythical creatures in the deck and how, you know, the meaning. It doesn't go too in depth, but it is there. So, you know, if you don't recognize what a particular animal is, you could go here and find out what the creature is called, like the phoenix in this one, for example. So that is helpful. Here's the back, really cute. Oh, and let me show you, actually, I almost forgot. I won't go through all of them, but here are the oracle cards, the additional 22 cards. So you can add them or keep them aside, or I mean, I guess maybe work with them alone. It would be a thin shuffle. Cauldron. Amazing. I love this. I love the magic and the myth in this deck. Just so exciting. And this is newer to my collection, so I have worked with it, but I am looking forward to spending a bunch more time with it because, as I mentioned, it is newer, but I'm enjoying it already. So it has made the list. So that's a look at Magical Creatures Tarot. All right, we're down to the final three. Coming in at number 3, we have the Secret Mirror Tarot Colorful Edition by Magic Flower. So here's the box. It has a soft, kind of rose petal-y cover. It is a magnetic flip open. Sides, back, and we will show you. That's what it looks like when you open it up. Guidebook, cards. And there is it fully open. Now you already saw a peek at the backs of the decks, but here it is. They are reversible. And size-wise, these are standard. I'd call it standard size. And the cardstock is what they called a skin-like texture. So very similar to rose petal to me, but maybe slightly less rose petal-y. And they are nice and thick. I believe they are 350 GSM. Now, the skin-like texture does kind of give you that rose petal effect where you shuffle and it does stick a little bit. I understand there's a black and white version of this deck. The first version that was on linen cardstock, I would definitely love to have that version because I love linen cardstock. This does feel quite nice, but when shuffling, it can kind of clump or stick just a little bit. So heads up on that. So beautiful gilding, gold, but kind of has that holographic effect. More holographic under the lights than, say, in person, but it is there. Now let's show you some of these cards. So we have this kind of soft, muted color palette. And you will see this artistic style is quite unique. I really love it. I love this art style. You can see traditional RWS symbolism. Yet there are moments where they do a little bit of their own thing with it. So the nice thing is that keeps it so that a beginner can use this deck, but it still keeps it a little fun for seasoned readers where it's doing its own thing. So I consider this an easy reader. And, that's nice. I love this Three of Cups. These styles, it's almost like, I don't know, Art Nouveau. It's an older time, and I really enjoy the fashions in it and the looks. And some of these faces, I love the way they're drawn. Some of the faces are really great, and the expressions, I enjoy seeing the expressions. Death card, so instead of moving through the card, it's moving towards you. I love this dress. So once again, a little bit of a difference from the Nine of Cups, right? Slightly different, yet still traditional. This beautiful Queen of Swords here. Now they definitely create their own world. So here you can see that emotion in her face, that grief, that sorrow, that loss. And I like when a deck has its own world and complete kind of mood to it. I think that's fun. Certainly part of this artistic style is these long lines, right? And so that does, here's a little bit of a difference here. That does mean that it seems like you have a longer, taller, thinner kind of person here. The Empress, beautiful. Look at that sweet face. That's just so sweet. So, yeah, I think this is a great deck and an easy reader. Very beautiful. 10 of Cups there. Okay, so that's probably enough of the cards for you to get an idea. Now, the guidebook is kind of like a little white book, I'd call it. Not a thick cover or anything like that. Simple, starts right into it. We have the Fool, we have the number, we have the planetary alignments, we have the description, the meaning, upright and reversed. Now, when we get into minors, we have the card image. It talks about the card imagery, the card meaning, upright and reverse. We do have these little colored pictures here, which is nice because when you're flipping through, that kind of helps you find it faster, and you can reference the image if you're not looking at the card for some reason. So that's the guidebook. and that's a look at Secret Mirror Colorful Edition. Coming in at number 2 is The Children of Ostara by Zia Hunt. This is an independently published deck that I backed on Kickstarter. I've had less time to work with this deck because it did arrive later in 2024, but I do love it already. And I have some experience with the previous deck, which is the Children of Litha Tarot. This is actually a very meaningful deck to me. I was given this back in 2019 I think 2019, maybe early 2020. When I was initiated as a priestess. So it was such a lovely gift and just really made a lot of sense. So this holds a special place in my heart. And for me, it's a very spiritual deck and a way of connecting with the realms. So I really see that in this deck. It takes it even further for me because this is focused on the plant kingdom, and I love that. I love the Fae spirit in both of these decks, or at least that's how I perceive it, and I really love working with that. So, because I backed this deck, it came with this beautiful velvet bag. I'm not sure if that's standard or Kickstarter or not. I also decided to get the beautiful mat. This is not an altar cloth that's thin. This is a mat that really sticks to the table, so when you're shuffling, it doesn't move around on you. Now, let me show you the box, and the bag is really soft and very nice. So, here is the box, and as you can see, it is meant to look good with the Children of Litha. Now, if I'm correct, I think that the creator intends to also create other seasons as well, and then make it so that you can mix these decks in if you choose, so that you could pick, certain ones. Maybe there's something from the major or minor arcana that you want to work with, or a card that you don't want to work with. They have the backs of the cards match so that you can mix and match if you choose to do that. So, let's take a look at this hard box. Magnetic flip open. Here's the back, and it says, whether used as sustenance, poison, medicine, decoration, or declaration, little else has captivated and assisted mankind so completely as the flora decorating this world. The plant kingdom is full of intricate complexities, beguiling beauties, and hidden dangers. It is no wonder that we have woven plants into our myths and endowed them with meanings, from the mundane to the magical, across cultures and throughout centuries. The Children of Ostara Tarot takes these meanings and entwines them with the timeless teachings of the tarot. It is where the magical and botanical meet to guide you to your highest self. Now on the back here, it notes that this is the standard black edition. So there was a gold edition that included, I believe it was 2 extra cards, and they did look like beautiful cards. I can't recall if there was gold gilding on there or not. I'm not sure, but this has black. So let me show you the inside. So it opens up, no ribbon, guidebook, and we have a little poem here. The seed begins small and in darkness will grow. As it seeks the light, it is destined to know. We too begin small, the path dark and unknown. Yet we too will grow, and we are not alone. We are all connected like the roots underground, and the light is never so far that it can never be found. Now this message, when I read it at this point in time that we are in history, this, to me, is a profound statement. We too begin small, the path dark and unknown, yet we too will grow, and we are not alone. We are all connected, like the roots underground, and the light is never so far that it can't be found. So, that is a message that I feel is very important. To have hope gives you fight. To have hope gives you motivation. You do not want to lose hope. You do not want to lose your fight. This is a beautiful message, especially at this time that we are in. So let's go ahead and check out the inside of this box. So here we go. Here is the inside. It notes once again that this is the black edition. We have a signature there, although it's a printed signature. Very beautiful. I think this is a beautiful design. And in the age of many counterfeits, this deck comes with a certificate of authenticity and a signature, which is great. So here are the backs of the cards. As mentioned, they do match the Children of Litha so that you can mix and match. Now to show you that, here is the Children of Litha deck. Same size. Also the black edging. This deck has black edging, so you can mix it all in and you won't be able to tell which is which. Now for size, here's a standard size tarot deck. This is, I'd say, standard size. It's ever so slightly wider, but not really by much. The cardstock has a rose petal finish. It is 350 GSM. And I'm comparing it to the Litha. It feels like the Litha, maybe slightly less rose petally, or even, I'm not sure, hard to say. Rose petal finish, as you probably know, can stick when you're shuffling sometime. So, it feels really nice, but it's not always the easiest to shuffle. But I do have to say, when I compare it to the Journey Tarot or the Secret Mirror Colorful Edition, this does move smoother than those decks, which has also helped it move up in the lineup a little bit. I'm not sure what's going on with those other decks. The Journey kind of had a waxy feel that made it stick. And the Secret Mirror, although it says a skin-like texture, something about it sticks slightly more, at least for me, than this deck does. So just keep that in mind. It does feel quite luxurious with that finish though. So let me show you some of this artwork. It is stunning artwork. I love this artwork. So, Knight of Swords, the Magician, the Lovers. And as you'll see, it is based on RWS, but does have some licenses, does make some changes. So, for example, here we have a scarecrow for the 4 of coins. And this is one way of protecting your bounty or your harvest or your money, scarecrow. So it's very interesting and creative, and I love this botanical focus. This beautiful sun, beautiful sun. Now, when we get to the minors that aren't aces and aren't court cards, they do feel slightly pippish. Now, some of them have a bit more of a landscape to them, but I do want to propose something because I am not a fan of pippish decks. When you think of these plants as spirits, it feels less pippish. And when you read the guidebook and you learn about that plant and you see how beautifully it's written and you hear the story, suddenly it feels less pippish. And I really, really enjoy reading the guidebook entries and learning, if I don't already know something about a plant, learning this meaning or interpretation. And I do think it's quite beautifully written, and these cards feel very deep to me. So here we go with, once again, a little bit pippish, but so beautiful. And when you read the card entries, they really say so much. That beautiful emperor with the thistle. And I will show you the guidebook. Justice. Just stunning. The star. These colors are so beautiful. Queen of Wands. So, the Tower. Dragon, snout dragon kind of thing. I love it. Very deep. The Hierophant. So, for example, pippish, yes, but does it tell the story? Yes, it tells the story to me. I can feel emotion here. And I think this is quite a beautiful way to do the Five of Cups. Really beautiful. Now, would I recommend this deck for a beginner? Probably not, unless they are going to reference the guidebook. In fact, no, I would not recommend this for a beginner. But if they picked it up, say they're really attracted to it, they can always look at the guidebook and learn from a different lens, learn from a more botanical lens. Like, how perfect is this deck for a green witch? Or one that wants to learn more about the botanical world, the world of plants and spirits of plants, or fae. I mean, it's perfect. And there's something when I sit down to read with this deck, it feels special. I'm going into this special, beautiful place. And that really pushes this deck up to new ranks for me and gives it a high standing. Look how beautiful that is. Something that can do that, artwork that can do that, I value greatly. And the quality and finishes on this deck are beautiful as well. We have a wonderful box. We have beautiful writing in the guidebook. We have gorgeous artwork. And these cards are going to hold up. They are going to last. So these are the kinds of things that I consider when I'm looking at my top 10. And look at this beautiful High Priestess. Isn't she gorgeous? Now, I feel like this is a perfect opportunity to show you the guidebook. So I will just read the beginning of this entry and then the plant meaning to give you an idea of this writing, not the general meaning. It reads, "Beyond fields where children leap, violet hues lull one to sleep. A realm betwixt dreams and dreads is where High Priestess gently treads. Her tender leaves and fragile roots are strong as the arrow the goddess shoots. Whether baneful poison or holy aid, many foolish souls to rest she's laid. Well guarded are the secrets she keeps, beside the monk who now forever sleeps. Wheresoever the monk's hood doth grow, lies hidden wisdom only a few will know." Then about the plant. Highly poisonous, monk's hood is a plant of liminal spaces. The first sprig, said to have been pulled by Hecate from the saliva of the three-headed hellhound Cerberus, repels malevolent spirits and grants vision as well as death. And then we have a monk's head meaning: invisibility, divine communication, clairvoyance. Then we, of course, have the upright and reversed meanings and the general message as well. So let me show you the front of the guidebook. So here's a look at the guidebook. It's small, fits in the box, but yet it's pretty thick. So we have some good information in here. Beautiful picture and poem at the front. I love that. Message here. Getting to know the children of Ostara, elemental correspondences. So in this deck, wands become fire, cups become water, so they're using the elements. Swords become air, pentacles become earth. Then we have a note on family dynamics, tarot spreads. So we have tarot spreads. Very nice. An Ostara exclusive spread here. And then we get into the meanings of the cards. Now, that entry I showed you, that style continues for the minors as well. That beautiful style, the poetic beginning, the meaning, the discussion of the plant, and then the plant meaning and the upright and reversed meanings. So that does continue. And we have a bibliography at the back as well. So that was a look at the beautiful Children of Ostara Tarot. And now down to our number one spot. This deck had to meet all of my criteria guidelines. I had to love the cardstock. I had to love the box. I had to love the artwork. There had to be some sort of originality to it. And most importantly, it had to speak to me easily when I read the cards. And of course, the bias of my own personal connection and bond with the cards. Since it is my list and not anybody else's, my personal connections will be different than others. With that said, I have a tie for first place. So on the bonus, you're going to get 2 decks as your number 1 position. Maybe you have a preference and you can let me know in the comments. I cannot choose between the 2. So here we go with one of the first place decks. In first place for the first deck, we have The Unicorn's Journey Tarot by Lisa Papez, illustrated by Francesca, and I don't know how to pronounce this properly, so please forgive me. Paiocchi? I'm not sure. I'm so sorry. But we'll move on. This deck is so lovely. We will start with a box. The box has a rose petal finish, soft touch to it, which I very much love. And we have the beautiful Mystic, who is the center of the story of this deck. It is a magnetic flip open. I will show you the box. And the back reads, The Unicorn's Journey Tarot is a deck that tells a story about a little unicorn named Mystic, who goes on a journey to discover who they are and what they are capable of. The storytelling in this deck will help beginners to understand the meaning of each card, while it will invite seasoned tarot readers to explore fresh perspectives and possibilities for interpretation. And there are 80 cards in this deck, so it has 2 extra cards, and it is based on RWS. And I do agree this could be definitely a beginner's deck, though I would recommend, as it does in the guidebook, to read the story first if you're a beginner. And even if you're a seasoned reader, it enhances the deck. Now, with that said, I have, of course, never listened to things like that. So, I went ahead and started reading with the deck without reading the story first. And I still read with it and completely enjoyed and loved it. But I finally took the time to sit down and read the entire story, which starts with the major arcana and goes through the minors. And then, wow, I loved this deck even more. And now when I look at the cards, I know the stories. It already told me a story, but now I know the stories that go with it. And I fell in love even more with this deck. It is such a sweet story and really brilliant how the cards are tied in with the story. It really does teach you about each card with the story in this deck. I think it is brilliant. So really exciting, completely recommend reading the story that is in the guidebook in this deck. Now, I also read the children's story because I got lucky and I won this in a giveaway. I actually have a video on that giveaway. I won it from Lisa Papez, and the children's story is absolutely adorable and gives such great messages for children. I think it's a very positive book for them. So I do recommend it. And the graphics are quite beautiful. You get these big, beautiful cards. And I think children will love it. So if I didn't mention it, this is a deck that I backed on Kickstarter. And so it's a first edition. Here is a look at the inside of the box. Do you ever lie on your back and gaze at the sky, wishing you were something other than you are? We have a guidebook, soft touch on the guidebook. We have a ribbon. A lot of these decks did not have ribbons. Let me point that out. So, ribbon to help you. We also have a certificate of authenticity. So we know this is a legit deck. It is not a counterfeit. And then on the inside, may your magic always shine from the inside out. And if you watch Lisa's channel, this is a YouTuber, if you don't already know, this is often how she ends her videos. And I think it is such a beautiful statement and ending. So really lovely to have it inside and completely makes sense with the magic of this deck and finding your magic. So there we go. There's the box. Now for the cards. Here at the back of the cards, you can see we have this holographic silver foiling. I'd call it holographic anyway. And we have a 330 GSM linen finish cardstock with a black core and this edging. Now I have to say, This is my favorite cardstock out of all the decks I've covered. And actually, maybe out of all of my collections. I love this cardstock. This cardstock is perfection. I wish I could have every deck with it. For me, this is what I prefer. I understand everyone has their own personal preferences, but I absolutely love this cardstock. I could shuffle and shuffle. This is soft on my hands, yet still beautiful to look at. It's got a flex, it's got a pop up, pop back, and boy, does it spread, right? Slides beautifully. I love this cardstock, and it will hold up. I mean, to me, this is the best of the best quality. This is what I prefer. So I just want to put that out there. That definitely, when ranking this deck, this cardstock, it's a dream. It makes the experience so beautiful. Now for card size, let's show you. It is slightly wider than a standard size tarot deck. So there's that. Let me show you some of these beautiful illustrations. Oh, perfect. I love that we see the sun to start off with. Mystic having a good time here. And now reading the story, now when I look at it, I see the story. I know what's happening in this scene, but yet I can relate it to my own experiences. It's just so beautiful. 8 of fire. 4 of fire. Wonderful illustrations. Yeah, it was so fun reading the story, and I was like, why did I not just read this off the bat? But the great thing is, I guess in a way I'm glad I didn't, because then I found out actually you can read it right off the bat without reading the story. But if you read the story like this here, it's going to enhance the meanings of the cards that much more. And is definitely a wonderful teaching tool. Now you will notice here that we have elements for the suits. But they do have an image. So here we have fire, but you see a wand. So it is helpful in that way. Strength. 3 of fire going out. 4 of water. Just really beautiful. Empress. Such sweet scenes and mythical creatures here. I love it. Death. Oh. And I love the different mythical creatures for the various suits. I'm really excited for the Oracle deck that will feature some of these characters that are in the minors. They will get a larger role, as I understand it, in the Oracle deck. Such beautiful colors. So I'm really excited to see that. I'm just I kind of want to come across either one of the bonus cards or one where they've changed a name. Look at that. I love this artist does a great job with the light and the glow and light and shadow. And that is something that can be very hard to do. So very much props to this artist. Look at those sylphs. Okay, one more, and then I want to show you a little bit about the guidebook. Now this 10 of air. So sometimes it can be painful to see the man with all those swords in his back, or in the case of animal decks, the animal with all the swords in their back. But that's not the case here. So this might be something that is a make it for you on this deck, because, it can be painful to see that scene and you don't have it there. Look how beautiful that is. Okay. So let me show you this guidebook. Oh, I love that. See what I'm talking about with that light and the glow? So beautiful. Okay. And these cute, the earth unicorns, nice and thick. I love it. I love a thick unicorn. That's so cute. Okay, so let me show you this guidebook, because of course this is part of what gave it the position as well. So we have a soft touch finish, beautiful cover here. And the sides, love this, color coded. I really love this. So wonderful. Now, we have some beautiful poetic poems here and various messages about the deck. Okay, I want to show you. Now, I love this. There is a self-worth theme in this. Learning who you are and how to live life authentically in the world despite what you think you are supposed to be. And that is definitely something I get from this deck when I read this guidebook and when I see the images as well, but definitely when I read this guidebook. And I really love that. I think it's such an encouraging and good deck with lots of beautiful messages. Okay, so in the guidebook, it will start off with the story of Mystic. So if you want to read the story, what you would do is just read the beginning of every entry all the way through at the very beginning and then start working with the deck, right? What is it they say? Do as I say, not as I do. Anyway, great recommendation though. So we have the story. We have this section is nice because it tells you what traditionally is shown in the cards. So say you're still learning and you don't necessarily have that image that pops in your mind when you see the magician. Well, it tells you traditionally what's there, and then it tells you what is in this card, the symbolism, right? Then you have upright, you have keywords, you have the meaning, then you have the reversed with reversed keywords. And then you have the self-worth message. So let's read this here for the magician. You have so much power and potential within you. All you need to do is believe that it's there and tap into it. Tell your inner critic to shove it. You've got this. And now here is something I really love. Okay, we have the map of the world of this deck. So this really is a story. So this world is Lumivaria. So welcome to Lumivaria. Each of the 4 suits are associated with a different realm within Lumivaria, the magical land that brings truth to light. And then this is so cool. To the south is the fire realm. And then it tells you about the creatures in the fire realm. And then the west is the water realm. Kind of reminds you of casting a circle, right? So I love this. I love this world. We have a map. We understand the beings that exist within this world. Self-worth themes associated with each of the suits are noted at the beginning. And then we have the same treatment for the minors. And then we have about the creator and about the artist. But we also have an acknowledgement section. I think that's fabulous when a person acknowledges everyone who's helped them along the way and gives them credit. That really shows a well-rounded person to me. So that is the beautiful Unicorn's Journey Tarot. And now for the second deck that is a tie for first place is the Cosmic Wisdom Tarot by Ethony Dawn with artwork by James Fenner. This deck is independently published and it was originally funded on Kickstarter. So starting off, we have this beautiful box. It has a soft cover, a rose petally finish. We have this foiling, almost like a holographic gold foiling, and that continues. I love this flap design along the side of this shape, and then the moon phases here. Okay, and then even the back is beautiful. Now, when we open it up, okay, the wisdom of the universe is in your hands. Beautiful as well. We have a ribbon, such a nice touch, soft touch guidebook. Now, when you lift up the guidebook, you are greeted with these beautiful backs. So really just the whole package, elegant, beautiful, luxurious. And these are gold foiled, these cards, but I'll show you more of that later. Now this insert is foam, so it's not that cardboard. It's great. It keeps your cards in place. It keeps them safe. And then under the cards, we have this beautiful design as well. So very well thought out, very beautifully done box. Now, as you saw a peek, here are the backs of the cards. They are reversible and They are that gold foiling holographic back, super beautiful as you come to know and love from Ethony. It has this beautiful gilding, slight holographic touch to that gold. Really love it. When I worked with it, it did not, sometimes when you get a deck with gilding and you take them apart the first time, they kind of stick. I didn't have that with this gilding, so that's really nice. It didn't flake off or stick together. At least that was my experience. Now let me show you the size. So for size of the cards, they are pretty much standard size, maybe like fraction of a hair wider. So I'd say standard size. The cardstock is 350 GSM with a matte finish, but it's not the kind of matte where it's sticky when you shuffle it. It's like a tiniest bit of sheen so that they slide. They slide nice and well. And then with that 350 GSM, they're thick, so you're not going to worry about them breaking down on you. They're meant to last. So let's show you some of this imagery. And then I got to show you this guidebook because I love this guidebook and I think it is completely original. And of course, Ethony is a great writer and teacher, so she did an excellent job. Oh, right off the bat. Look at that Four of Swords. It's so beautiful. And this, as I mentioned, is one of the categories that I was looking at for my top decks, originality. This is an original Four of Swords, yet it's not just different to be different. It completely works. It makes you look at the card in a way that's a little bit different, but it means the same thing. Here's that rest. Here's that respite. And what does that look like for everybody? It's not always taking a nap or sleeping. Sometimes it's doing this. And I love that. It is absolutely beautiful. Those lights, so beautiful. And the thing I also love is that, for example, that was a modern depiction, a setting that is easier for me to relate to. It feels more current. And this deck, for that and many other reasons, is very readable. I find it quite relatable, modernized, with original takes, and it's a talker. It is an easy reader. So this is a deck that I definitely would recommend for beginners because it has all the symbolism there. It is true to the RWS symbolism. Yet for seasoned readers, you still have a little bit of twists, things that are a little bit slightly different to entertain you and see it in a new way, where it's not like the other decks where maybe it's exactly the same. And I think that's quite beautiful. And I definitely love, as you'll see, that it feels like everybody's represented. So that also makes it more readable. King of Pentacles. I love seeing a happy, fuller King of Pentacles here, enjoying life. I mean, that feels fitting to me. Nine of Cups. See, this is original. But we have a new sort of symbolism in here with the tiger, and I believe that's cherry blossoms, another way of representing like abundance and luck and that kind of thing. So I think that's great. Slight twist here, but still true to the original. Beautiful Hermit. Oh, and of course, the High Priestess from the front of the deck. I love that. I love these colors. Love the colors. And I love this Page of Cups. I love this Page of Cups. It is so sweet. And I can relate to this too, because I remember being a kid and snorkeling for the first time and just like spending forever. And my parents being like, all right, time to come back to the boat. Nope. Still out there swimming around, fascinated. you know. And I still do that as an adult too, I have to say. You know, I love the underwater world. And so that page of cups just, it completely speaks to me. And that face is so sweet on that page. I love it. This beautiful Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups, I have to say, it's sometimes one of my favorite cards. And I always love to see how people do the Queen of Cups. And you know, sometimes it's my favorite card in the deck, or at least for the court cards. Not always, but I do love to see a beautiful Queen of Cups. It's beautiful Nine of Pentacles. Oof. Oh, so we do have some classic interpretation there, of course. Now, a little bit more, and then I will, that beautiful Chariot, show you the guidebook. Really quickly, though, I do want to see, there is an alternate for the Lovers. So let me see if I can find it for you. Oh, look at this beautiful star. Isn't that beautiful? Okay. Oh, I have to show you this. Look at that Queen of Swords. Right? And Queen of Swords, I think, is Ethony's card. So fabulous job on that Queen. Oh, look at this. Three of Pentacles. Okay. I'm on my way to look for that card and I keep finding new beautiful ones. Here's your Fool. Okay. Found it. Sorry, this is a working deck. As I said, this is a talker. This is a easy daily reader. So it is out and used. So harder to find. So you have options here. Say you are reading at an event. Maybe you are concerned with the nudity, so you swap out with a covered lovers card. Or, you know, you're reading on YouTube, or children might be around, or you're just somebody that does not like nudity as much. You have this alternative, or you have the classic. So you've got two options there, and that is very nice. So here is the guidebook. Now, before I move on, this is a limited edition deck, and this is the first edition. So this is the card that comes with it, and it is hand signed. That's not printed. That's hand signed by Ethony, showing that this is a first edition and the real thing deck. Now, this guidebook is brilliant. I do want to mention I have a full flip through video of this deck. If you'd like to see it in its full glory, I will link it in the description. So beautiful inside. Contents, and you will see how to use the Cosmic Wisdom Tarot, ways to connect with your new tarot deck, that this is so well done. This layout, this editing, it's beautiful. We have card spreads. Ethony has great card spreads. And then this is a completely original and clever idea that's very effective. So for the write-up, for example, we have the Fool. And then at the top it says, the Fool is your daring guide to living life on the edge, but with just enough wisdom to keep you from toppling over it. Embrace the adventure, but bring your common sense along for the ride. So we have the message here. And then we have what I'd call, I guess, an affirmation. So it says, take the leap of faith and see where the journey will take you. And then it has upright meanings. So being open to something new, freedom, excitement for what's to come, new beginning, trusting intuition. And then, very cool, we have a yes or a no. So here, this one is a yes, right? So if you're using this for yes or no's, very cool. We have the reversed meaning. Look before you leap. You'll hurt yourself from this height. Ignorance, poor judgment, impulsiveness, inexperience, acting foolish, and in reverse, that's a no. Then, over here, we break down the symbolism in a very visual manner, which works for me because I am a visual person. So it points out, for example, that there is a sunny, clear sky. What does that mean in this card? It means everything is easy right now, being in the present moment. And then it continues to break down the symbolism in this card. Hence why this is a fabulous deck for beginners and a very easy reader. And even for seasoned readers, I think it's lovely to see the breakdown like this, and also cool to have these yes, no's. It's just, it's beautiful. So super well done. And it continues like that throughout the minors, throughout the courts. Obviously they also agree that is equally important. Now, this is also a color-coded guidebook. I'm not sure if my camera's picking up on it, but we have it color-coded, so it's easy to flip through. I love that. I can find it faster. I don't have to ear dog anything or use stickers or anything like that. It's in there. So beautiful, done, well written, lots of great knowledge here. And that is a look at our final deck, the Cosmic Wisdom Tarot. So which tarot decks from 2024 do you think deserve a spot on this list? Did any of your favorites make it? Or do you have recommendations I need to check out? Let's chat in the comments. And if you love discovering beautiful decks, check out the video or playlist linked on your screen now. And if you'd like to see more, click like and subscribe. Thank you for watching and sharing in the joy of finding new favorites. May your readings be insightful and your collection filled with decks that speak to you.